Mississippi. I love y'all. God bless you. Last night, speaking of love, I was so proud to be a part of the amazing event at the Pavilion in Oxford, where Mississippi truly showed our love for Erica Kirk. And we give our people a hand. We stood the entire duration of the speech. God bless you, Erica, and God bless the memory of Charlie Kirk. It is great to be with you today. I want to thank you for coming, and I have a lot to say in a little time. So today I want to hurry through. If there are three things that I have in mind to share with you. One is to give you an update, of course, on the farm situation, the agriculture situation, the challenges that our farmers face. Secondly, I'd like to give you an update on a brand new trade deal that was just announced with China this morning. And then I want to talk about an economic plan. I would suggest to you an economic plan for this state that is agriculture focused, but is more than agriculture, that will be a benefit not only for our farmers, but for the people of this state and of this nation. You know, back in the Bible, back in Egypt, the king had a dream, and he had a dream and tried to figure out what these 7 fat cows and 7 skinny cows meant. And it took Joseph to walk up and tell him what that dream meant: 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. And through trying to look into the future and understand what the future holds, the nation of Egypt was able to take action to not only preserve themselves, but to preserve the world at that time and preserve God's people. And that's sort of how I've felt for the last several years as we see the farm crisis that we're in today. It was 1 year ago I stood here and told you that America was facing a farm crisis. And in fact, a year later, everybody agrees we're in the middle of that farm crisis. It's an agricultural crisis caused by high input costs, by skyrocketing inflation, by high interest rates, and the loss of global trade across the world. And it's an issue that is going to be a long-term issue. But the main difference between a year ago and today is we have President Donald J. Trump back in the White House. Thank God for him and what he's doing to support our farmers, including this recent trade deal this morning. President Trump has rolled back regulations. He has made it easier to conduct business. He is working hard to get better trade deals for our farmers. And I want to illustrate, I have 5 slides here today. I'm going to click one. I got to go back. Go back to the next earlier slide. There's a global trade. How do we go back? Let's do it again. All right, I lost my slide. Get that first slide up there if you can. The first slide has to do, no, that's not it. Slide number 1 will show you the years-long global trade problem that we've had with China. There it is. Okay, so what you can see here is way back in 2011, China began purchasing its soybeans from Brazil. And in fact, they've begun supporting and financing all that development to the point that today Brazil is producing more soybeans than America, and China is sourcing the vast majority of its beans from Brazil. As you see, 75% was a high back in 2017. This year they haven't bought any, but this morning it was announced that President Trump and President Xi of China had a meeting, and China has agreed to purchase 12 metric tons of United States soybeans and has committed to buy at least 25 million metric tons for the next 3 years. Can we give our great president a hand for securing this deal for our greatest industry, agriculture? And a lot of reductions in tariffs that'll be coming as a result of that. It's going to be a great deal for all industry. But I want you to understand that the loss of market is not a temporary issue. It is going to be a long-term issue, and we're trying to understand what we can do today for the future of our state's largest industry. When you look at the profitability of farming with soybeans, in my second slide here, you see that it's predicted a negative $185 per acre for the farmers of this state in terms of soybeans, due to, as you see, the skyrocketing cost of raising a crop, and also, as I mentioned, the depressed market. If you want to look at cotton, it's even more profound, negative $568 per acre for our cotton producers. We are very dependent upon a global trade situation for our commodities, and these issues are not going away. There are long-term issues that we're going to have to be very thoughtful about, and I have something to say about that as far as a strategic plan in a moment. On the subject of beef, which has been in the press, we have the lowest beef herd in American history since 1949, I think, and we need to rebuild our American beef herd. I support American beef. That's what we live and breathe at the Department of Agriculture. Everything grown, raised, crafted, and made right here in the Magnolia State, and we're going to let the markets regulate themselves when the supply and demand are adjusted accordingly. And another challenge that our farmers are facing is the lack of a farm bill. I think 3 years ago that farm bill expired. Congress has not been able to pass a farm bill. Our farmers need certainty, and they've not had that for a long time. So we need our Congress, we need the Democrats to end this shutdown and to pass a farm bill for the good of our farmers and our food supply in this nation. But even with the positive China trade deal, there are some things that we're going to have to work on for the future. One of the issues that our farmers are facing right now is a land use issue. It's a challenge. It's a challenge because as we are experiencing wonderful economic growth and development here in Mississippi, and I know each one of you are part of that, and we're very proud of that. We want to keep that going and growing, economic growth. But we are also facing the loss of our farmland to a lot of different unnecessary industrial encroachments, solar farms and such as that. And there are increasing conversations now about land use, which are primarily governed by the counties, and we have to make sure that we preserve our farmland. I'm convinced that after meeting with experts at CoBank that the food production of this nation over 20 years is going to be based right here in the southeastern United States. And I want to show you why in this next slide. All right. So this is a slide that USDA put out a few years ago back in 2017, and it shows you the shift of water in this country. It shows you the shift of water from the west, which is drying up, to guess where? The southeastern United States. And the experts at CoBank tell us that in 20 years, the southeastern United States will be the food production center of this country, of this nation. And we have to take steps today to prepare for that. Not only to prepare for being that food production center for the country, but we have to take steps to preserve our farmland. Farmers in a tough time right now. We need to make sure that we preserve that farmland for agriculture and food supply at the same time as we balance that with our ongoing economic development. And it's a practical need that we have, not only to support our farmers, but to have food supply. I've traveled the world. I've been all over this planet promoting our genuine Mississippi, grown, raised, crafted, and made products, and I love to do that. And I can tell you, I've been places that don't have food production, and they are the weakest nations in the world because they depend upon other people to feed them. Food security is national security, and Mississippi can be a leader when it comes to our national food supply for the next decades ahead, for the good of our people and for the good of our country. I want to show you one other slide that's more recent, just came out last month. It's a little more dramatic. Every dot represents 5,000 acres. The purple dots represent a reduction of water, irrigated water, and the green represents 5,000 net increase. And as you see, Mississippi is where the water is. When I went to that conference, the commissioner of Wyoming told me, when you get back to Mississippi, he said, tell your people that you have something worth more than its weight in gold, and that is water. And you and I have to be prepared to be the food production center of this country for the days ahead, at the same time as our water is safe for people to drink and for our ongoing economic development. Water usage must be taken into consideration. As we think about that, our food production is also, I see, a solution to having one of the goals of the president, that is to make America healthy again. More local food, healthier foods, and that's why we launched Make Mississippi Healthy Again just the other month, a few months ago, and we're going to have more about that, working with dietitians and the medical community for the future. There are 4 things that I would suggest to you that would constitute an economic plan for the future of this state, because agriculture is our largest industry when you consider the manufacturing, the processing components of that, poultry, the largest industry. 4 things that we need to do. And the first is we need to add to our production, not just have production, but also have the processing, the distribution, the value-added concept. And let me put it in plain Simpson County English to you today. We need to be processing everything we grow here in Mississippi, from soybeans to sweet corn. We need to be processing everything from corn to cattle, from cotton to tomatoes. We need to be having it vertically integrated right here in Mississippi for the future of our state and our country. We need to have local food supply hubs that will distribute the food wholesale throughout this nation, and that's a great opportunity, but also retail marketing. And we launched Genuine Mississippi to promote all the great products that we already have here in Mississippi, grown, raised, crafted, and made. We can expand that because consumers want to buy local. They want to buy American. They want to buy Mississippi. And having those retail markets, I'm convinced the result will be that we can create jobs that will more than double the economic impact of Mississippi's agricultural industry, creating jobs, and most importantly, providing food security for our people. We need to feed Mississippians first. We need to feed Americans first, and we can't rely on other nations to feed ourselves. China has proved that. We're going to get through this. Every farmer knows you're going to get what you sow. You're going to get more than you sow, and you're going to get it after you sow, after you do the work necessary to have a crop. And when you do that, you will have a harvest if you don't quit. I view my job as your commissioner, and hopefully in other capacities for the future. My job is to plant the seeds of good seed today for the future of Mississippi tomorrow. And if we do the great work that's necessary, we'll have a great and a bountiful harvest. May God bless you. May God bless America. May God bless the great state of Mississippi. And thank y'all for coming to the beautiful Mississippi Coliseum. We'll see y'all later. Thank y'all for having me today.